under those circumstances that you're going to see things like 1,000 deaths a day. I think that is a bit much. But there is a danger, a real danger, that if there is a persistence of a recalcitrance to getting vaccinated, that you could see localized surges, which is the reason why I want to emphasize what all four of us have said. All of that is totally and completely avoidable by getting vaccinated. So the very fact that you bring up the question, which means there's a reality that that could happen, should hopefully stimulate people to appreciate that they have within their own wherewithal to prevent that from happening, to get vaccinated.
And I would just add, with 70% of people over 30 already with at least one dose, with 54% of Americans, adult Americans, fully vaccinated, we have a very strong platform to build off of, and we're going to continue to vaccinate millions and millions more Americans across the coming months. Next question.
Caitlin, CNN.
Thanks so much for doing this. Since we're not going to hit this goal now of 70% with one shot by July 4th, can you say when you do expect to hit that goal? And then secondly, I noticed there's been a lot of focus on the milestones that they've hit so far. Should we expect any new goals on vaccinations going forward from the administration?
So, Caitlin, just to summarize where we are, we're already at people over 30 and over. We're at 70%. By July 4th, we'll be over 70% for 27 and over. And within a few weeks, we will be over 70% or over for the whole adult population. And then we're going to continue to drive across the summer and into the early fall to vaccinate more and more people. I'll leave it to the president to set an additional goal. He's our goal setter, and he's done a great job at setting aspirational and ambitious goals that have really driven our success.
Jeff, if I could just add one thing to this, and thinking of it just as we do in medicine when we're taking care of patients. You know, you pay attention to numbers like their lab values and other numbers that are important, but the most important thing at the end of the day is, how's the patient doing? How are they feeling? What can they do? And similarly, when we think about this effort, the most important goal that we're focused on is, what can people in our country do as a result of this vaccination effort? And there, I think what's been encouraging to me and so many of us is that we've actually exceeded where we thought we would be. We thought people would be able to get together, have barbecues again if they were vaccinated. We're finding now, given the progress we've made, thanks to the hard work of people all over this country, that we can not only do that, but if you're vaccinated, you can be part of large gatherings. You can participate in so much more of life that we have missed out on over the last year. So I think it's just important to keep in mind that the most important metric at the end of the day is, what are we able to do in our lives? How much of normal have we been able to recapture? And I think that what we're seeing now is that we have exceeded our expectations, and we've just got to keep going, because until everybody's under that umbrella of protection, until everyone has their way of life back, we're not going to stop in our vaccination effort.
Dr. Murthy, I couldn't agree more. We are going to have a 4th of July celebration, which is beyond everyone's highest expectations. Next question.
Let's go to Nancy Cordes at CBS.
Thank you so much. I'd love to hear from any of you about how you came up with the 70% goal in the first place. What led you to that particular number? And what do you think is the main thing that kept you from getting over that finish line? Did you assume that young people would get vaccinated in larger numbers than they have? That would be great. Thanks.
So we did that as a team, relying very heavily or exclusively on the docs and scientists, many of whom are on this call. Dr. Fauci, why don't I turn it to you as to the 70% and where we are relative to 4th of July and where we're headed. Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, some of you may remember when we were talking about this concept of herd immunity, and I repetitively said we don't know what that number is, but you can make a reasonable, intelligent estimate that it's somewhere between 70 and 85%, because remember, herd immunity is a combination of individuals who are vaccinated and individuals who are protected from because of prior infection. the lower number of that was 70. It seemed like a reasonable number to do. It was empiric. I mean, there was no mathematical certainty to it. But I think I know that most of us agreed that that was quite a reasonable number. You did say something that's interesting. You said reach the goal line. That's not the goal line. That's the aspirational goal. The goal line is to completely crush this outbreak. And that's the end game that I showed on my first slide. So no one should think that when we reach this 70% across the country, that we're done. We are not done until we completely crush this outbreak.
And maybe just to emphasize the importance of the second dose. So the 70% is a first dose benchmark, but we also want people to get the second dose for their 2-dose vaccines.
One more question?
Yep, Zeke, AP.
Thanks for doing this. For those 4 states that haven't even reached 50% of their adult population yet vaccinated, is the White House looking at a different approach to those states? Is there, we've heard from some of those governors saying they're not, it's a personal choice for folks who are not quite, should we expect to see a different strategy from you all going forward? And then secondly, after July 4th, a lot of these incentive programs run out. To Dr. Walensky's comment that sort of every COVID death at this point is preventable. Is the White House going to phase out its promotional campaign to drive people to vaccinations if at this point, you're throwing the chance of winning the lottery at folks that are still not getting vaccinated? Is that all going to go away? And this is obviously people's personal choices.
Zeke, this intensity that you've witnessed across the last 5 months is going to continue for the foreseeable future until all Americans can get vaccinated. So we will continue to meet people where they are: mobile clinics, doctors' offices, pharmacies. They'll continue to make it even easier and more convenient for people to get vaccinated. People have questions about the vaccines, and we want to make sure that we're answering those questions, addressing those questions at the local level through doctors, through faith leaders, through trusted messengers at the local level. So we're not slowing down at all. If anything, we're speeding up, as Dr. Fauci has talked about, until we crush this disease, and we'll continue to do everything we can to get as many Americans vaccinated as possible.